7 books this month, people. That's awesome. Hey book lovers, Victoria here, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap up and August TBR. Now, as you saw in my little intro, I read 7 books this month, which for me is really good, especially since for the last 2 months especially since in May and June I was in a major reading slump. I only read 2 books for those 2 months, but I pulled myself out of that reading slump and I powered through some books, and which is a really good way to start the month before the booktubeathon. So let's get into it. The first book I read this month was Yours E.R. by Terence Blacker, and this is a series of non-fiction letters that the Queen has written to her ex-private secretary. And I thought it was so great. I think I gave it 5 stars, 4.5, 4, between 4 and 5 stars. It was so good. There was most of the way through the book I completely forgot that it was completely fictional, because it was that good. I felt like that these were the things the Queen would be thinking and saying and writing about to her private secretary. It's so good. It goes from the time from the London Olympics and the Queen jumping out of the helicopter with James Bond up to the birth of Prince George, and I thought it was just wonderful, and I recommend it to anyone who likes the royal family and England, because it was just so fun. The next book I finished was Pretty Little Lies by Sarah Shepherd, which is the first book in the Pretty Little Liars series, and loved it. I started watching Pretty Little Liars in June, and I am halfway through season 5 at the moment, so I've got a season to catch up on, but I am enjoying it so far. And I was about half an episode in. I was halfway through episode 1 when I was like, you know what, I'm going to read the books. So I ordered the Wonderful box set, and I flew through this first book, absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars. I recommend it to anyone who has watched the show but hasn't read it yet, because the story is essentially the same, but there are a lot of the TV series does end up diverging away from the books, so I kind of feel like it's 2 stories for the price of 1, and it is so fun, so read it. Naturally, the next book I read was Flawless by Sarah Shepherd, book 2 in the Pretty Little Liars series. Again, I gave this one 5 stars. I just flew through this one as well. The series was so great. I love the differences that it has from the show. I'm pretty sure it was this one. Was it this one? Yeah, this one, the end of it was like, I wasn't expecting it, because it's something the show never did, and I'm so glad the show never did what they did in this book, but it was just unexpected. And I just really love the layout of the books, and just read them, please. So can you guess the next book I read? Can you? Bet you can't, because I read Perfect by Sarah Shepherd, which is book 3 in the Pretty Little Liars series. Holy crap, I can't say that quickly. I gave this one 4.5 stars out of 5. It was still really good, but it was just sort of lacking. It didn't have as much action and drama as the first 2 books had, but I still really enjoyed it, and I love where this book series is going, and yeah, it's fun. Now, can you guess the next book I read? I bet you can't, because it was The Selection by Kira Cass. Fooled you. I did the TBR takedown readathon, which was created over on Instagram. I didn't really take it too seriously, but it made me read The Selection, so I'm really glad I did it. It's been sitting on my shelf all year, and I've wanted to read it. I just haven't got around to it, and I'm glad I did, because I flew through this in like 1.5 days. It was so good. It started off a little. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. It started off a little bit slow for me, but it sort of picked up a little bit. There were 2 issues that I had with it. The first one, which ended up resolving itself, was that I didn't believe America could be so like negative and sulky about being part of the selection. Me personally, I would feel kind of well, okay, maybe not me personally, but I feel like someone, if they got the opportunity to like live at the palace for an indefinite amount of time and meet the royal family and the prince and live a life of somewhat luxury, I'm pretty sure you'd be a little bit excited, but America just wasn't, and it was frustrating me. But she kind of picked up near the end. The other thing that was annoying me is we sort of didn't get enough world building in this. We were thrown facts, especially in the beginning, about the different classes, and I was confused. That kind of half resolved itself, but kind of didn't. So I really hope there is some more backstory and a bit of world building, because I don't really feel part of the world yet, because it's just hasn't been built yet. But yeah, this was really good, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series. The next book I read was The Mystery of a Hansom Cab by Fergus Hume. And this was required read. This was the first book I had to read for my Australian literature course at uni, and it was actually really good. I ended up listening to most of it on audiobook, but it was really good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a crime novel set in Australia. And apparently it was the best-selling crime novel of the 19th century, and it wasn't anything by Arthur Conan Doyle, which was quite surprising to me, because I'd never heard of this before, but I really enjoyed it. So it's obviously about a guy is found murdered in a hansom cab, which is a horse-drawn carriage that travelled around Melbourne back in the late 1800s, and it's just sort of all about the police trying to figure out, firstly, who this man is, because there was no identification on him, and then who it was. And there's one major suspect, which happens to be this guy. And it's sort of, for most of the book, you think it's him until you sort of get like flashbacks throughout the book of what really happened as the police figure out what happened, which I thought was really good. And then they start thinking it's someone else, and then it's someone else, and then right at the end you sort of figure out who it was, and you sort of never expected this person because they're not necessarily a major character. But yeah, I thought it was actually quite good. I didn't think I would really enjoy it as much as I did, because I don't really like crime fiction that much, but I really enjoyed it, and now I've got my mum reading it. And to go with that, I then ended up watching the movie, which I did enjoy, but I definitely liked the book better. The movie sort of didn't focus the same amount of time on each of the suspects as the book did, which that's what I really enjoyed about the book. But anyway, finally, the last book I read this month, and I bet you can guess this one, that was Unbelievable by Sarah Shepard, the 4th book in the Pretty Little Liars series. I obviously had to put this series on hold while I read Mystery of a Hansom Cab, so that I could get that done for when I needed it to be read by. But as soon as I finished it, I picked this up, flew through it, and this got 5 out of 5 stars. This is the end of Arc 1. The first 4 books make up Arc 1, and then the next 4 Arc 2, and so on. And so I just thought it was a really great, it was just picked up so much, and there was so much drama, and it's when they find out who First A is. I can say it. If you've watched the show, then you'll know who like the first A was. It was Mona. That's in this book. I can say that. It's aired. It's been on the show. But yeah, it just how they find out and everything was really good. And then the end. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to keep going with this series. So now onto my TBR for August, and it includes a couple of books that I'm currently reading. The first one that I'm currently reading is, surprise, surprise, Pretty Little Secrets by Sarah Shepard, which is book 4.5, the companion novel, one of the 2 companion novels. The other one is called Ali's Pretty Little Lies, which is the prequel that you meant to read last. So I looked around, and some people were saying that you should read it in publication order, whereas others were saying read it in chronological order. So I went for chronological order, and I'm really glad I did, because it's just helping bridge the gap. It was described as meant to be the bridge between Arc 1 and Arc 2, and it is 4 separate, well, sort of separate stories. Instead of in the other books where it focuses on all the stories together and each girl just sort of getting separate chapters, this is 4 separate stories that don't really have much overlay, just little bits and pieces over the winter break between the 2 books. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about a third of the way in, and I'm hoping to have this done by the start of the booktubeathon, so I hope to finish this over the weekend. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving this series. The other book I'm reading at the moment, which I really wish I'd kind of finished by now, is, is To Kiss or Not to Kiss by Julie Mullins. Julie Mullins, now I kind of need to explain this. Julie Mullins is an actress who played the character Julie Martin on Neighbours back in the 90s, and I love Neighbours, and so I got to interview Julie about her time on Neighbours, and I'll link to that below if anyone is interested. So I posted the interview on the day her book came out, and I downloaded the ebook. I'm about halfway through, 60% of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It is a series of 12 stories about different kisses that she's had that have like affected, like not really affected her, but so they've all had different impacts and sort of thing. There's like hang on, I need to look at this. The measure of a kiss, the dangerous kiss, the motivating kiss, the naughty kiss, the promising kiss, the kiss that takes your breath away, the grateful kiss, the first kiss, the unexpected kiss, the fun kiss, the healing kiss, and the last first kiss. And I'm really enjoying it. I've also just ordered the paperback version because it was available on Amazon. Australia can only get the ebooks, so I went on Book Depository and found it, so hopefully I'll get that at some point. But I'm really liking it, and I really like Julie. She's a wonderful person, so yeah. Now onto the rest of my TBR. Now, 2 of these books do feature on my Booktubeathon TBR, but that's just because I managed to squeeze them in there because I wanted to read them this month. So, the first lot of books I want to read, which should be no surprise to anyone if you've been paying attention, is books 5 through 8 of Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard, which is Wicked, Killer, Heartless, and Wanted. This is Arc 2, and I'm so excited. Can't wait. Bring it on. And these are actually a little bit shorter than the first 4 books, so I'm going to fly through these because it only takes me about a day and a half to read them. Woo! And then I also, if you saw my Booktubeathon video, I want to read the Elite. I also want to read the One, if that arrives. I ordered all the books in the series, but for some reason they didn't send the One yet. And so if the One arrives, I'm going to read the Air as well. If not, then the Air is just going to have to wait. And then I also have to read a book for uni for my Australian literature course, and that is Prelude to Christopher by Eleanor Dark. I'm not entirely sure what this is about. Oh yeah. A doctor crashes on a country road. As he fights for life, his past and his choices unravel before him. The women around him wrestle with hopes, inhibitions, and disturbing knowledge, striving to claim something of themselves from a corrupt destiny. What future is there for a hero who is a practical idealist, or of a woman who won't bend? It's set in the 1930s, so I don't really know what it's really about. It's not that long. I say that now, it's probably going to take me like forever to read it. But it sounds kind of interesting. I think it's got relatively good reviews, but anyway, I need to read this for uni, so I've got to read it. And the last book I have to read this month is my TBR book. I will link below to my TBR jar video, so you can see what's in here. I ended up decorating it with a ribbon and the Mockingjay pin because I want the odds to ever be in my favour that I'm going to get a book I want to read. Give it a shake. Despite the fact they're not going to move. I should have got a jar that I could fit my hand in. What do we got? We have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, which I'm pretty sure it's right here somewhere. I'm sitting in front of it. So, A Tale of Two Cities is something else I'm apparently going to be reading this month, which should be good. Hopefully. I don't know. Oh my god, I'm regretting this TBR jar already. But no, it should be fun. I mean, I got this at the start of the year because it sounded interesting and I want to read some Charles Dickens, so yeah, hopefully it's good. You don't know what The Tale of Two Cities is about. I'm just going to so The Tale of Two Cities, if you haven't heard of it before, is it moves between 2 great European capitals, London and Paris, before and during the French Revolution. The struggle between I can't say this word, proletariats, how do you, like the middle class or the lower class, that, and the aristocracy in France, and how the implacable hatred between the two threatens to destroy the happiness of exiled French nobleman Charles Darnay and his beautiful wife Lucie Manette are the twin themes of the story. When Darnay risks death by returning to Paris, Sidney Sydney Carton, a dissolute barrister who several years earlier had promised to embrace any sacrifice for Lucy and those dear to her, sets out to save the young aristocrat at any price. So I mean, it sounds interesting. Hopefully I can read it. But I do have quite a big TBR. I'm not going to sacrifice the rest of my TBR for this book, but I'm definitely going to try and read it. Oh, I regret the jar already. Damn it. So, that's my TBR for the month. How many books is there? 2, 4, 8 books. 8 books plus the 5 others that I've got for the booktubeathon. I'll link below to that video so you can go check that out, what my booktubeathon TBR is. But holy crap. God almighty, that's a lot of books, guys. It's a lot of books. Anyway, I will link below to my booktubeathon video and my TBR jar video so you can learn a bit more about that if you are so inclined. Other than that, make sure you subscribe. If you like what you see, let me know in the comments below what sort of videos you want to see on this channel, because I want to bring some more fun content onto here. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all my bookish goodness and whether I'm going to get through this pile. Otherwise, I will see you guys soon with my book haul. Oh, that just makes my TBR jar bigger. Bugger. Anyway, bye.